Hello everyone, my name's Katie Ewers and I am a careers advisor and life coach, and I'm on video today to talk about the next video in my self-discovery series related to the Honey and Mumford. Now I've done other videos as well on Myers-Briggs personality, Clifton's Strengths Finder, Howard Gardner's intelligences, motivational maps, because all of these videos, when used on their own, but more powerfully when they're brought together, can be used to help you create a picture of who you are and the sort of jobs that you would be more motivated, more able to do, and more fulfilled in doing. So this is another one of my videos to teach you something else about you. There's going to be some overlaps on some of the other theories, but that's all part of bringing the whole big picture together. You might find at the end of doing all these self-discovery quizzes that every single one of them alerts to you working around other people. So you can find that as a strong indicator that you should work with others rather than alone. And you can do that with all aspects of the job. You're going to find when you look at the end that there's going to be a lot of, repeats. Repeating themes in all of your self-discovery quiz answers that will think, okay, they all point in the same direction and in the same pattern. So this video is part of the puzzle that I'm hoping that you will put together at the end of my series. I'm going to record a video as well that brings all these videos together to help you create that big picture that will help you find the best job for you. Anyway, so I won't carry on gabbling and going on. Let's get on to Honey and Mumford. Now, Honey and Mumford is about learning styles, and I'll tell you a bit more about it here. So it was developed by Peter Honey and Alan Mumford in the 80s. Inspired by Kolb's learning styles model. They created a questionnaire inspired by all this data that probes the general behavioural tendencies of us. Okay, the rationale behind this is that most people, the reason why they did this, I guess, is that most people don't really think about how they learn or the best areas that they could work or complete tasks that help them learn best. Okay, and this can relate back to a job. I mean, when you look at each type, you'll realise that there's jobs that relate more to each type than another. And you'll learn this as you go forward. So to be that happy, effective employee, it's good for you to know all these little things about you so that you perform in the best way that you can. Okay, so this is how it looks, and you're going to see some overlap with some of the other videos I've done on concepts like the doer, the thinker, the people person, and it sort of comes across here as well. So you have the pragmatists. They like to plan and then put their plans into action to see if a concept works. So the sort of jobs that would be linked to, say, pragmatist might be an engineer. So they like to plan and process and create blueprints and prototypes and then look at that concept and see if it works. So that's your archetypal, I feel, engineer. But of course, it's not just an engineer. This can go across the board in business. You know, this kind of ability or task framework, planning and trying concepts out to see if they work is very pragmatist. So if you find that you're more pragmatist, you might want to look at jobs that sort of tilt towards that area, and I can help you with that. Just send me an email. The activist, they're not the planner as such. They want to get out there and start. So the pragmatist is going to plan and make sure the concept works, and then they're going to pass to the activist who's just going to do it. Right, let's do it. Let's use whatever this concept is, whatever this product is. Let's experience it. Let's see what it's like. Let's do it. That's the activist. Then you have, after that action, you might be the kind of person that prefers to be the reviewer, to look at the performance of what just happened. So I guess going back to the activist, if you're the doer, you're the person that actually does the work on the field, like the teacher, like the builder, actually doing the engineering job, or anything where you've got to do something. There's so many things I can't pick it. But, there's the pragmatist planner trying it out to see if it works. The activist then puts that into action. Okay, so they're the kind of people that just want to get started. They want to be practical. They want to just experience and do. So you're looking at jobs around that. The reflector wants to evaluate maybe what's been done. So they might look at what the activist has done and go back to the pragmatist's plans and their prototypes and think, where can this be improved? Where could we do something better? And there's jobs related to improvements and enhancements and finding the problems, making it better next time. Okay, that's a concept that's linked to many jobs too. Okay. And again, if you struggle to link that concept with jobs, just send me an email or contact me on the description box. It's fine. I'll be happy to answer your questions. And then the theory. The theorist at the end, they are then considering where the theory, the initial concept that started it all going, could be altered. Okay, so changing that base big picture, looking at the underlying reasons, the agendas, the concepts, the relationships between them, and thinking, does that need to be rewritten? Does it need to be changed in any way? And then that continues in the cycle back to taking that new concept from the theorist, and then the pragmatist will test to see if it works. The activist will do it. The reflector will observe and decide what needs changing, and the concept might change again. You see the cycle? But everybody tilts toward a certain area and learns best and feels more fulfilled in those certain areas more than others. Okay, and jobs will be related more to each one. So the activist is the experiencer, the doer. Let's see if you resonate with this one. Don't worry if you don't, there's 3 others after that. So the activist, you learn by doing. You're not really keen on sitting and planning and faffing and chatting about it. Let's just see if it works. Let's just do it. You don't mind getting your hands dirty or get stuck in and pull the bolts off, or, chop whatever garlic needs to be chopped, or lift whatever needs to be lifted, or deliver whatever needs delivering, teach whatever needs to be taught. You get my drift. You have a receptive way of dealing with learning. It's to and from. It's learning as you go. You include yourself completely in new encounters. You're not worried about trying something new, because in your mind, experience is how you learn. So even if it goes wrong, you think, okay, I've learned something from that. Okay, so it's experience. You don't need theory. You don't need anything else. So you don't mind getting involved in new challenges, because that is literally how you take in information. You perform and learn best by brainstorming, problem solving, group discussion, really chatting it out, talking with others about it. Role play, competitions, puzzles, anything quite kinesthetic and movement orientated and socially orientated, where you're doing something, really works well for an activist. So you want to do a doing job. Okay, you don't want to be the one sat behind the desk doing the planning. You want to be doing something, and the specifics of what you do depends on you. It depends on depends on your Myers-Briggs, depends on your talents, your abilities, your motivation. So what you do depends on everything else. Okay, but it's that underlying let's get it done mentality that relates to certain jobs which will make you happier in life. You tend to jump in at the deep end. You're enthusiastic, let's get started. You look for new experience. And you don't mind being the centre of attention. Okay. Key questions for an activist when they're looking for a job. Okay. Is it a job where I will learn something all the time? Okay. And you need to be honest with yourself about that. You need to be doing a job where it's varied and you're always learning something new, something that you didn't know or couldn't do before. Okay. Will there be variety? Okay, if you're an activist, you need variety. You don't want the monotony, you don't want procedure. So you want to step aside from jobs where there's established routines that go loop and everyone has to do the same thing. So I'd avoid accountancy if you're an activist. It's very, you do this on this time, you do this on this time, and everything's got to be exacting and correct. And that'd drive an activist up the wall. because you get bored of doing the same thing for any length of time. So analysing figures because you're £10 out would drive you up the wall. And looking for information in data is not necessarily something that you would feel overly fulfilled about. So again, you're going towards the interactive and the doing kind of jobs. That's how you learn best, and that's where you feel most happy and fulfilled. Like-minded people to mix with, socialise and bounce off is good for you. Okay. Your strengths is you're quite flexible, progressive, open-minded. You're happy to give it a go because it all comes back to that experience helps me to learn kind of thought. You enjoy new situations. It doesn't scare you. Again, it's new experiences. You're optimistic about anything new and unlikely to resist change because it just doesn't scare you at all. You want the pace to be faster and the chunks of time to be shorter. So you'd be good in fast-paced environments, emergency services, fast-paced dynamic sales environments, physical jobs, construction, anything where you're doing something and expelling energy physically. Your weaknesses, you take the immediate obvious course of action without planning. Because you're not a planner, are you? If you're an activist, you're not about thinking, what should I do? You want to learn by doing. So you make your mistakes and you fix it as you go. That's how you want to work, and that's how you learn best if you're an activist. You tend to do too much yourself, hog the limelight a little bit, can take unnecessary risks at times, goes into action without sufficient preparation, and that feeds into the lack of planning and the learning and the falling over and getting up and dusting yourself down as you go kind of mentality, which can be useful too. That's not a negative thing. For some jobs, yeah, it would be a negative thing, but for other jobs, it could be a great thing. Okay, so it's not a negative. It depends on the situation. You get bored with implementation and consolidation and continuing work. So fast-paced jobs where you get the job done and then you're on to the next. Emergency services, that kind of sort of thought process rather than planning and long-range thought, and not for you. Planning, long-range thought is not for an activist. The pragmatists, now these are the planners and the experimenters. They'll take an idea, maybe the idea from the theorist, and they'll think, okay, how can that theory be put into reality? So you might take the ideas of a designer, and how can I make this into a machine that works? How can this design be brought into the reality? Or how can this book be made into a film? How can we take an idea and run with it and make it work? That's the pragmatist. So you have the capacity to perceive how to put the learning into practice. So taking the airy-fairy idea of the theorist and thinking, how can this be specific and applied to reality? Okay, conceptual ideas and recreations are limited because, the theorist does that. You're not about creating the concept. You're about looking at the concept and seeing an approach that can put that approach practically into your life. Experimenting with new ideas, speculations and methods to check whether they work. So looking at the idea of the theorist and see if it works. See if it is not just airy-fairy or whether it actually can be created in the world. You learn better by taking time to think about how to apply your learning. In reality, case studies, problem solving and discussion. So that's how you learn best. Experiment with new ideas in reality. Look for practical application. Down-to-earth problem solving, bringing that idea out of the clouds and bringing it down to earth and seeing whether it will work. Basically, if you're a pragmatist, the questions you need to ask when you're looking for work is, will I have the opportunity to practice, check and experiment, to check the prototype to make sure it works? Will there be a lot of practical tips and techniques? Will we be addressing real world problems or airy-fairy ones? You're not interested in airy-fairy ones, practical real world problems. Will I be mixing with hands-on experts who have shown they can do it themselves? So that's what you should be looking for when you're looking at a job. And if you need help to pick out whether certain jobs can do that for you, send me an email, send me a message, book a coaching or an advice session with me. I'll be more than happy to help you with that. Strength of the pragmatist. Keen to test things out in practice is what you're all about. Practical, realistic, down-to-earth, business-like. You get straight to the point. No faffing about. Very about techniques and how things are done. Pragmatists find it easy to motivate themselves and find time to complete tasks. They're great experimenters, as I keep saying. They like to try things out in the real world. The scientist, taking all the ideas and then creating a big explosion in the science lab because they just want to try out the idea. Try out new ideas and techniques to see if they work. Likely to be more disciplined and better at planning it into their schedules than maybe an activist would be. Downside of your pragmatist is they reject anything without an obvious application. So they might not always want to take the time to take that concept and really think about whether that can be put into reality. Unless it's an obvious application, they may not really want to put the thought processes in that's needed to do that. I'm not interested in theory and basic principles. Tendency sees on the first expedient solution to a problem so they can just start and get it done. They're a doer like the activist, impatient with waffle and faffing about. So I think the reflector and the theorist are more the thinkers, and the pragmatist and the activist are more the doers. Impatient with waffle. Let's get doing. Let's get task orientated. Let's get started. And you prefer the task over the people. So again, you're going to want to look for jobs that maybe are more task orientated than people orientated if you're a pragmatist, and a job where you can take an idea and apply it. I always think of the engineer because they're very about designing a concept. So they have the design engineers, and then the design engineers pass on to the engineers that actually bring that into the reality. You're the next stage engineer. You take the idea and you think, okay, how can this be applied? But it has to be an obvious application, because you're not patient with digging into concepts to death to find the practical application unless it's there staring you in the face. The theorist, the other thinker like the reflector, the analyst, looking at the idea and looking at everything that's around it. This is the initial concept. This is often the beginning of everything. This is where the theory comes to you, and then that theory is analysed and applied. But this person, the theorist, is the one that brings that initial idea, that concept, and is able to bring all disparate information and facts and data and come up with new conclusions, new concepts and new ideas. And there are jobs that link to this skill as well. So you get a kick out of the chance to comprehend the hypothesis behind the activities. What's behind it all? What's the agenda? What are the real reasons? What's the theory or the concept behind all this? That's the theorist. They require models, ideas, truths, and a specific end goal to participate in the learning procedure. Okay, so they need to see the big picture if you're a theorist kind of person. And you learn that way as well. You like to see the reason why you're doing things and the big picture behind it. You like to break down and integrate, drawing in new data into methodical and consistent hypothesis or theory. Your choice of learning activities includes models, statistics, prototypes, stories, quotes, background information, other theories, previous theories, new theories that you may have taken on board. You're quite logical, very logical in your ways, systematic, analytical. You need to be to analyse all these different theories, ideas and concepts and pull disparate facts together. You need to be analytical. You need to be logical. You need to be objective, most definitely. Thinking things through, well, you're very much the thinker. That's a given. And a perfectionist. Key questions if you are a theorist. So you're looking for a work and you're looking for a certain job and you're looking at all the tasks involved. And if you're a theorist, you need to be asking questions like, will there be opportunities, excuse me, there's a hair in my mouth. So will there be opportunities to ask questions? Is there a clear structure and purpose, or can they show me a big picture to work from? Will I encounter complex ideas and concepts that will stretch me? That's a big question that you need to ask. Are the approaches to be used and concepts to be explored valid? Well, that's be something that you'd enjoy looking at and deciding whether the concept is valid. Will there be other people of similar caliber to myself? Okay, so you need to think of these questions specifically if you're a theorist. Strength of a theorist: logical, vertical thinkers, rational, objective, so good with objective when you need to be objective. There are jobs where you need to be subjective, and there are jobs where you need to be objective. Now, a theorist would need a job where they need to be objective and disciplined. Good at asking, being able to ask probing questions, given time to think and ponder, given time to think things through and analyse. So you'd need a quiet environment, maybe an office, or maybe working from home would be good for a theorist because they need time out from the people to pull all these ideas together and really use their theorist strength the best way they can. You'd find it easy to motivate yourself and find time to complete the tasks. You're very self-motivated. You like to analyse, you like to synthesise, drawing new information into a systematic logical theory. And you need a job that will help you do that if you're a theorist. So that might mean a quieter environment. It might mean a less dynamic environment for you to be able to think things through properly. And you might be happier that way. Not everyone's happy working with people. Some people are happy doing what they need to do, task orientated. And if you're a theorist, that's the kind of way you tilt. Weaknesses: you're a bit restricted in your lateral thinking, low tolerance for uncertainty, disorder, and low tolerance for uncertainty, I can't even talk, disorder and ambiguity. You see, I can say it. Intolerant of anything subjective or intuitive. It's not facts-based. It's just, how do you know that's true? That really annoys a theorist. It has to be proved for a theorist to take it on board. So anything subjective, feelings related, emotions related, or anything intuitive, or, somebody says, oh, I just felt the need in my gut. They're like, oh, that's just not their thing. How do you know that's true? They don't trust their gut. They don't trust their intuition, which can be a bit of a difficulty at times. Full of shoulds, oughts and musts, which can be quite stressful for them and stressful for others around them, especially if they're at the receiving end of the shoulds and the oughts and the musts. But they do it to themselves as well. So it's not just you they're doing it to. The reflector, right, this is the other thinking type, like the theorist. They like to look at what's been done, review it, maybe even observe it, reflect, and maybe suggest any changes that might need to happen. So you learn by watching, contemplating what happened, thinking about what kind of job did I do today? What was good? What was bad? What could be improved? What am I going to carry on doing next time because that worked? Really reflecting back, making the necessary changes. So many jobs that relate to that skill. So reflectors would be good in that kind of environment, that kind of job. Learn by watching, contemplating what happened. You may abstain from jumping in and prefer to watch from the sidelines. Remember, you want to check things first. You need to think about it. You need to observe. You need to reflect what's going to work and what's not going to work. You want to see encounters from various alternate points of view, gathering information and using the opportunity to work towards a suitable conclusion. You like paired discussions, self-analysis questionnaires, personality questionnaires, time out to observe and ponder and think and reflect, feedback from others, coaching, interviews. You like to chew things over. You're quite thoughtful, quite analytical, so you'd like to have time in your job to think and plan. A good listener, good with people, adopts a bit of a low profile because you learn by watching, observing and reflecting and thinking. So you won't be the one to jump out there and have a high profile because you don't really enjoy that, and you don't learn like that. You enjoy by being the quiet one in the corner, learning by observation. Okay, and then bringing that observation into knowledge or usable knowledge with reflection. Okay, that reflection can cause procrastination. You know, the activist is the let's get it done. The reflectors are like, whoa, I need to think about it first. So you can be a bit of a procrastinator, especially if you let fears drip into your life. So if you're a reflector, the kind of questions you want to be asking when you're looking for a job is, will I be given adequate time to think things through? Will I have planning time? Will I have thinking time? So you're not looking at the dynamic, fast moving, make a decision now kind of jobs. So emergency services, maybe not so much for you, you know, because you don't have any time to plan or think or reflect. You know, you just do it and then it's done before you've even had time to think about it. So that kind of job maybe not for you if you're a reflector. So you need adequate time to think and reflect on what work you've done so you can make changes. Will there be an opportunity to assemble all the relevant information that I need? Will that information be available to me? Keen question to ask if you're a reflector. Will there be a wide cross-section of people with a variety of views that I can pull from? Will I be under pressure to get things done quickly? This is a key one. Reflectors don't want to be under pressure to do things quickly. They don't want to be slapdash. They want to make sure what they're doing is correct. So a job that makes them move fast before they're ready, that would not be fulfilling for a reflector. Okay. Your strengths are you're very careful, you're thoughtful, you're thorough, and you're methodical. You know, mistakes are going to be found by you. Any changes or anything that makes it less than brilliant are going to be pulled out and replaced. And the things that are brilliant will be kept in and accentuated because you've reflected on everything that's gone well and things that haven't gone well, and you've made the correct changes to improve the whole situation. So you prefer to stand back and view from a number of different perspectives, rarely like to jump to conclusions, but until you've really thought things through. So you want the pace to be slower and the chunks of time to be longer, whether the activist wants the pace to be fast and the chunks of time to be faster. So whichever person you are, the jobs that you will do will be vastly different. Okay. Weaknesses of the thinking reflector is you hold back a bit too much from direct participation because you're about observation, aren't you? That's what you do. So it tends to sort of make you not participate so much like an activist would. Slow to make up your minds, reach decision, take action. Tendency to be a little bit too cautious, not take enough risks, and not really assertive. You prefer to be in the background, the quiet one, the thinker, the observer. And that's the kind of job where you're going to find most fulfillment if you are a reflector, and where you're going to learn the most as well. Well, I hope you found my video really useful today. I'm a professional careers advisor and life coach and happy to help you. All you need to do is contact me. But I'm new to YouTube. I'm only just uploading my first few videos in the next few days. Well, if you're listening to this, I've just uploaded it. So I'm looking for subscribers. Please share my channel because I want to help as many people as I can to find the right job for them. Whether you're a young person or whether you're a career changer, these videos can help you. It's never too late and it's never too early in my view. If you like my video and you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please click the thumbs up to like my video and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click that bell icon because I'm always going to be uploading new jobs for anyone that would find that useful, and I'm up for suggestions on that. So if there's a job I haven't posted about and you'd like to know more about it, just message me and I'll put it on. If I have a waiting list of whatever video I'm doing next, I normally have a waiting list because I have more ideas than I can practically make. So you can email me on katie@careertalents.co.uk or go to my website careertalents.co.uk, and I'm going to put links to my Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram in the description box for you, so you can link to me on social media if you so desire. But as I say at the end of all my videos, it's really important when you're looking for a job, looking for a career or changing to a different career, that you're looking at yourself and really understanding who you are as a person, your personality, your skills, your strengths, what motivates you, what tasks and environments would suit you best. These videos are going to help you to do that. Now I have 8 videos, I think, in total focused on self-discovery. And I'm then after that going to start posting videos on help you to plan, make the right decisions, and videos on certain specific jobs so that you know what sort of things you need to do that job. And at the end of each job, I put a little sheet which links back to my self-discovery. These are the kind of types that fit this job. So it should all link together quite logically for you. Anyway, I'm going to stop gabbling on, but remember, you've always got to look to yourself, look to your own intuition, what works for me. Don't listen to what anyone else says to you, okay? Because they don't know you like you do. See you soon.